Okay, now started.
Ready?
Yep.
All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. 7:02, 7:03 p.m. Bonnie, can you call roll, please?
Absolutely. Chair Mercucci?
Here.
Vice Chair Risberger?
Here.
Commissioner Baskin?
Here.
Commissioner Lettuce?
Here.
Commissioner Swan?
Here.
Commissioner Hahn?
Here.
Commissioner Parmenter?
Here.
And Councilmember Walsh-Russo.
Here. Thank you. All right, everyone, so I know that most of you have an agenda in front of you. I am going to switch things around just a little bit, so I just want everyone to know the kind of lay of the land here. First of all, I just want to thank everyone for coming. I know that this is a very tense and potentially contentious issue for some people in the community. However, we do expect both respect and decorum in the chambers, so please, please respect that. Our role as the Planning Commission here, we reference the law. We're an objective body. Our role, per the City Code, Chapter 35-2, we have authority over things like environmental review, site plans, subdivision approvals, and that's really it. We do not address areas of economic impact. I know that that is probably a relevant issue to many of you that are sitting here today. But very importantly, I want to make it clear to everyone in the room that we are not making any decisions this evening. We will hear RSS present, we will hear public comment, and we will give commissioners an opportunity to ask any questions that they might have for RSS or for the petitioners. And to be very, very clear, the Planning Commission does not have authority over this project, at least not as of yet. That might change by the end of this evening. But we are not yet considered the lead agency for this project. So we are mostly here today to listen to RSS, to listen to all of you, to make sure that your voices are heard. We will, like I said, have public comment, but before we get to that, we are just going to have, well, we are going to ask RSS if they will present their project first. We'll give them an opportunity to tell us a little bit about what is happening with 164 River, and then we will take it from there. Sound good to everyone? We're gonna have fun, I promise. Okay, without further ado, let's turn it over to RSS. Please take the floor. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, and good evening. Thank you, Chair and other commissioners, members of the commission. So my name is Christine Nealon, and I'm here on behalf of RSS, or Rehabilitation Support Services, to present Solstice Commons, a proposed 61-unit housing community at 164 River Street, a property that RSS purchased in 2018 with the appropriate zoning for this type of development. As you're going to hear more during the presentation, Solstice Commons is designed to address one of Oneonta's most pressing needs, safe and affordable housing. Located within a neighborhood that takes great pride in its working class history. This housing community will ensure the neighborhood remains affordable and accessible to working individuals. All 61 apartments will be affordable to households earning between 30 and 70% of the area median income. Of those, 30 apartments will also benefit from support services and working in partnership with RSS, which promotes the on-site amenities that promote wellness and stability. The city's comprehensive plan calls for increasing the variety and affordability of housing choices for all ages and incomes. This project directly advances that goal, as well as aligns with Oneonta's pro-housing community designation. Since 2018, we have received considerable feedback from the community. This most current design that we present tonight reflects this, placing the building in the northeast corner to preserve as much of the natural forestry as possible, maintaining buffers from neighbors, using design elements that fit with the surrounding neighborhood, and relocating the vehicle traffic entrance to West Broadway. RSS has a long track record of developing and managing successful housing communities throughout New York State. Most recently, we were awarded low-income housing tax credits, which are incredibly competitive in New York State, on our first application because of our strong reputation throughout the state. And that happened in Ithaca, which is also a pro-housing community and very diligent about their review process. Like those initiatives, this project, Solstice Commons, represents a multi-million-dollar investment that will strengthen critical infrastructure like water and sewer while also maintaining the neighborhood feel of its surroundings. We've also taken care to address practical concerns like traffic and parking, which we've done extensive studies on, and this design meets the city standards with flexibility built in through banked parking spaces and bike racks to encourage the least amount of pavement and the most amount of modes of various access. Sustainability is another strong priority of this project. It is in compliance with New York State green energy codes and has undergone an independent sustainability review for that application for tax credits. So our team, including our civil engineer, Shelby from Labella, will explain the technical elements of this application in clear and accessible terms. And we are really committed to ensuring this project is within the confines of all legal parameters, the city, the state, all of the codes. And that is why we have hired a land use attorney, Betsy Brooke, who is going to help describe the process that we will go through for the review, similar to what the chair said. So before I introduce Betsy, I would like to close by saying thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This opportunity to present Solstice Commons to you is very important to us. We're very committed. RSS has been here for 40 years, and we are not going to turn our back on the community that we are so invested in. So thank you. That's
Great. Thank you, Christine. Hi, good evening. As Christine said, my name is Betsy Brugg. I'm an attorney with Woods Oviatt Gilman, and I'm thrilled to be here tonight and be part of the team on this project. RSS is very committed to this community, and our team has been working very diligently to really produce the best possible site plan for you. As the chair mentioned earlier, this board has limited jurisdiction over this project. So I'm here to basically make sure we dot the i's, cross the t's, and that we comply with the state and local laws and regulations that apply and kind of stay on track. From a legal standpoint, and what we're requesting are site plan approval. That's the review, as the board knows, is the kind of the design and layout of the project within the parameters of the site, and subdivision approval. The project itself is completely code compliant. That means that the use is permitted by the R3 zoning, so the use is permitted by code. We also comply with all the dimensional and bulk requirements of the code. So that means building, parking, setbacks, all of those physical requirements, we comply with the code completely. So we have a completely code compliant project. So essentially we're here to present you with the site plan and the subdivision, let you go through your review process. Obviously the key step that this planning commission will take will also be to undertake the seeker review process. So we will be asking that the planning commission declare your intent to be lead agency to start that process. As far as the seeker process and the application, we've submitted a very complete package to you. So we included all of the site plan drawings, we included architectural drawings information, but we've also submitted to you the EAF form with the part 1 completed, and we've also supplied, I believe, all of the reports that you need in order to conduct your environmental review and eventually reach the conclusion and issue a negative declaration. We've provided you a traffic study, we've provided a SWIP, we have a letter from SHPO, all of the various items that I know that the planning commission would expect and require in order to meet the requirements in order to secure a neg deck. So that is, I think, what we're asking tonight for the planning commission to start the seeker process, start your site plan and subdivision review, We do need to ask that a public hearing be scheduled, which is required as part of the process, so we'd be asking that you schedule the public hearing. I know that you allow the public to speak, but technically I believe this is just a public meeting and not an actual hearing. So we would ask that you notice the public hearing so that we can prepare for that. I know that as part of this review, just like we have a civil engineer and all kinds of experts involved, because we do approach this in a very professional manner. We have all the experts to address each of the various issues involved in the development of a site. We know that the city also has its experts and consultants that are reviewing this, so we look forward to receiving, professional comments, staff comments, engineering comments. I will say that a fair amount of work has gone into this to reach this point tonight. We were very determined to give you a code compliant project and to give you the very best possible site planning consideration of, avoiding any impacts and, really giving you the best possible project. As part of our application, you will see that we did address all of the criteria in the code applicable to site plan approval. I believe that we meet all of those requirements. Our team is here. We're happy to provide whatever information, answer any questions. I look forward to working through this legal process with you. I'm going to turn it over to Shelley to get into all the technical aspects. Thanks.
Hi guys, I'm Shelby Beckner. I'm with LaBelle Associates. I'm the civil engineer for the project. I can run through a little bit of high level of what we're looking at the screen here. It's probably easier if I just pointing. And I'm happy to answer along with the team any questions that you guys have.
If you can just talk a little louder.
Sure. So site plan wise, as I think Christine and Betsy mentioned as we ran through this, obviously different site than what people have seen here before. I guess our main component for starters is that our entrance will be off of West Broadway. And then we've sited the building in the northeast corner, as Christine mentioned, to take a lot of care to pull it away from the neighboring residential uses and pull it closer to the neighboring industrial uses, commercial uses, whatnot. And we've taken great care to maintain the vegetative buffer that's there already. The light green up here represents where we would be clearing out the land, and the darker green represents where the native vegetation will be remaining throughout the property, which we've done as best as we can to keep all that, again, on the residential neighboring sides of it. Outside of that, we have our building here. We have a 3-story building that's about 50 feet tall. I think, as we mentioned, it's 61 units, a mixture of 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms. We provide in our package some renderings of the building as well if we want to run into those. Parking-wise, we're code compliant with, I believe it's 98 spaces with a combination of banked parking spaces if we were to need it in the future. And we're providing 56 spaces to begin with here, with some bank parking in this green area here and some bank parking over here for the future. We also have pedestrian access that we're providing out to River Street, knowing that that's where the bus route is and a lot of the areas for the people that will be living here to get out into the other things that Oneonta has to offer. So we're providing a sidewalk that will allow people to walk that direction. Otherwise, all the lighting on the project will be night sky compliant. And I think of what else we want to mention of it. As Christine mentioned, we have bike racks on site, benches and other amenities for residents. We also will have a recreation area up in this area, which will have play areas for different age groups between adults and all the way down to children if children are living at this facility. And then we also out back have a patio with some gathering space for residents. I think overall that's kind of our big picture of how the site is laid out. Again, happy to answer any additional questions on that or run through anything in further detail. I think that's kind of how we got to where we are with the site layout itself. I guess we're open. I guess from there, we're open to any questions the board has.
I can't hear what you're saying.
So before we turn over to public comment, I just want to give a brief opportunity for any of the commissioners, based on RSS's presentation, to ask for clarity on anything that you have read through the packet or that Christine, Betsy, or Shelby just presented on. Questions from the commission?
Yeah. On your site plan review, it says that you're increasing impervious surface coverage by 1.5 square feet. I believe that's a typo.
Yeah, definitely acres. Yes.
It's 1.5 acres?
Correct. Yep.
Good to know.
Good catch.
We gotta look. Next question is regarding your sidewalk. It's gonna be lit, correct?
Correct. The sidewalk to out to River Street.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that is gonna be lit, we provided photometrics in our package. That's gonna be lit with bollard lights, that'll be low, 4 feet off the ground. And then photometrics will show that that's gonna still be, 10 feet beyond the edge of the sidewalk. Certainly taking care to not have that go, beyond the property lines.
Sure.
Yeah, photometrics are gonna kind of show where that whole.
And you're leaving the indigenous vegetation as is
Correct.
in that process. Now, are you gonna have also any kind of security system
Yes, those
on
will-
the premises?
Yep.
Yes, okay. And it will cover that sidewalk?
Uh,
Yeah.
Yes? It will cover that sidewalk? I'm sorry, the security system will cover that sidewalk?
Yes.
Yes?
That-
Okay. No worries.
Dave?
So we're gonna be voting later on subdivision. Why is the property being subdivided?
So the cost of developing the property in the past was very high because the whole property was being developed. It was also not consistent with what neighbors wanted, which was clearing a lot of trees. So by subdividing, it allows us to treat the one parcel as the parcel that's being developed, and thereby reduces the expense related to developing the property. So it just makes a more affordable property to be able to manage. And then the sidewalk obviously would be an arrangement between RSS and the project itself.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Other questions from the commission? Susan?
Can you tell us more about your security system?
So it's in the budget for cameras and we'll have 24/7 management on site. So between the combination of humans and cameras managing it, that will all happen. And as for placement of the cameras, that happens with, engineers and architects who can tell us where blind spots are and all of that. So,
Do you have security systems in your current RSS
Yes.
housing
Yes.
in Oneonta?
We have nothing like this in Oneonta, so I would have to get back to you on that. I don't actually do much with the facilities other than the new development, so I'd be speaking out of turn.
Well, the facilities that you have, like the one in Ithaca, tell us about that security system. Am I correct that the security system you'd be putting here would be very similar to that?
Certainly, and every project is different, but yes,
Okay.
we use the same approach to ensure that we are managing in a way that keeps all residents and neighbors secure and safe.
Okay, and that's also a downtown facility as well?
It is, yes, Ithaca is different, but
Yeah.
yes, yes, it's not in a rural.
Okay.
Other questions from the commission? And you, of course, will have another opportunity to ask questions. But for the sake of time, I think we will now turn it over to public comment. A couple of ground rules, because apparently that's what we do best here. First, we will ask Bonnie to present any public correspondence that has been submitted for this project. I believe we do have one, so we will get to that in just a moment. Prior to that, I want to make very clear, as you had mentioned, that this is not a public hearing, but which we will hold at a later date, and that will be announced to the public. We are actually not required to take public comment as Planning Commission, but we'd like to offer the opportunity, of course, to all of you who came out tonight to allow for your comments to be heard. For this reason, we do also have the ability to close or restrict public comment at any time. For the sake of time, I think we're going to try to limit this to 1 hour maximum. We ask that petitioners please keep questions, comments relevant to issues within the proposal and also within the Planning Commission's purview and the things that we actually have authority or control over. If comments are, of course, unreasonable or repetitive or irrelevant, public comment will be ended. Again, I will emphasize that we would like to have some decorum here this evening. I know that I'm sure people have some very strong opinions and we do want to hear them, but we of course want to be able to do so in a respectful manner, and we hope that you will abide by that. With that said, we will give 3 minutes per person. When it is your turn to make a public comment, we ask that you just present your name and your address. Please only address your questions and comments to the Planning Commission. Please do not address them to RSS or your fellow petitioners. Commissioners may choose to, but are not required to respond to any public comment. And you cannot cede your time to another petitioner. So again, each person will have 3 minutes. If order's not served, and I do have my gavel and I'm not afraid to use it, the public comment portion of the evening will be ended. Please be respectful of RSS, also, of course, of the commission and your fellow neighbors. And if you are unable to keep your comments within that 3-minute time limit, you may submit your comments in full written correspondence. We will be able to receive those and we'll be able to review them in lieu of our October Planning Commission meeting. And your public correspondence, of course, has no written limit, so you can go on and on as long as you'd like. Public comment will close when all petitioners are heard or when we get to our 1-hour mark. And we're looking forward to hearing what everyone has to say. You want me to add anything?
Well, maybe you should ask that.
Go for it.
Okay.
Yep.
Quick question for RSS. Do you plan on taking any notes for questions that come up during the public comment here, or are you going to wait for the public hearing to do that so then they can be addressed?
We will take notes because we want to make sure that we address all the comments. I don't know if we'll address them tonight.
Okay.
You know, certainly if there's something that we can, we would be happy to do that.
Okay.
If not, we'll be prepared for the next.
All right. Thank you.
I also want to emphasize again that RSS is not required to address any of the petitioners. Actually, we would prefer you not to. So if you can just take note, and then when the public hearing comes, you will have the opportunity to address some of the concerns of our neighbors here. Okay, you got your timer up?
Yep.
All right. Yes, sir.
William Shue, 14 Parrish Avenue. I got to talk real fast. I got 3 minutes. You have not been declared the lead agency. I would ask that you defer that status to the zoning board. It's common practice for the chair of the planning commission and the chair of the zoning board to meet with the city attorney. That's been common practice for years and years and years. And a determination then decides who is going to be the lead agency. That was not done. No action should be taken tonight. You are not the lead agency. No action at all should be taken, whether it's approving a site plan or a splitting up of a property. You're not the lead agency. You need to respect what has happened in the past. The chair of the planning commission meets with the attorney, along with the chair of the zoning board. They determine if there's anything in there that a higher power needs to handle. And this higher power is the zoning board. They're much higher than you. You're not giving them the benefit. A lot of confusion was about this meeting tonight. Postcards were sent to people 200 feet, excuse me. They thought it was a public hearing. There wasn't any definition in that card. But we sit here tonight and we talk about site plan passing and a division perhaps. There are things that you're going to hear, not tonight, but during the public hearing, that rely on you passing it over to the zoning board because there are zoning issues to beat the band. I don't care what any legal expert says. We have run this through some legal people. There are zoning issues. There may be a very critical issue of a special use permit for this land. You don't have that authority. Pass it on. Don't declare yourself lead agency. Give it over to the zoning board, and tonight, don't pass anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shue. Yes, sir.
My name is Howard Lippman, 152 River Street, in Oneonta. I've got a statement that I wish to read to the council members. We, the residents, and those that own property in the 6th Ward are petitioning for the Planning Commission, the Common Council, the Mayor, City Administrator, Code Enforcement Officer to not take any action on the newly proposed housing plan for the Solstice Commons at 164 River Street. We are petitioning for a 2-month moratorium on any action taken by the Planning Commission on the aforementioned project. This moratorium of non-action on the said project would take effect immediately and continue until the regularly scheduled meeting in November, there or about November 17th. We, the undersigned, and are further petitioning the City of Oneonta and Rehabilitation Support Services, RSS, to hold 4 neighborhood meetings within the 6th Ward for those residents and property owners within the 6th Ward. 2 meetings should take place in October, 2 meetings should take place in November, well in advance of any planning commission meeting. We, the undersigned, recognize that this project will have an effect on general health, safety, and welfare of the 6th Ward, and I would like to present to the commission the signatures of nearly 200 residents in the 6th Ward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I expected more. Okay. Please.
My name is J.C. Chase. I live on 8 Wilson Street. I just want to say one, I'm new to the area in general. I've moved to Oneonta in the past 3 years. I fell in love with my wife, who's lived here her whole life, and her family. And I definitely do not, I want to stand in support of this project. I don't believe that that the entire 6th Ward or that everybody's represented by being against that, this project. And I wanted to share for myself, you know, I have, I'm very, very fortunate. I have a great position, a great job. I make great income. And I, you know, I don't need a resource like this personally. But I grew up in low-income housing. I grew up, you know, without a lot of resources, and you know, my family really struggled. And I think that, you know, I've heard a lot of rhetoric around this project and insistence on, you know, it's dangerous and you know, these poor people are going to come and ruin the neighborhood. And you know, it's hurtful to hear because, you know, I look at my wife is an amazing member of this community. She's a volunteer for a lot of programs. She works with domestic abuse victims in town. She works with veterans services, and she dedicates so much of her time and energy to help people. And let me tell you, those jobs do not pay well. And the only reason that she's able to do that is because of my income, right? Supplemental. She would not be able to afford to live in Oneonta based on her income. And a lot of people who live in this city, who work in the city, can't afford to live in the city. And we have people who, you know, it's an amazing city. We have hospitals, we have all these healthcare facilities, we have restaurants and businesses. And the people who work at those places deserve to be able to work to live here. And so projects like this are really important. There's not a lot of housing options. It was very difficult for us trying to find a home. And we decided to move to Oneonta and purchase a home. And you know, I think, like, if it weren't for the fact that I work fully remote. I work for a company that's based in California. I've tried to work in my industry in Oneonta and interviewed with marketing companies, which is my field, where the owner makes less than I do at my current position. I could not afford to work and live in the city. My wife would not be able to afford to live in the city and do the kind of work that she does and help people the way that she does. And I really urge people to consider their biases and their fears and look at the real humanity of people who work in the city deserve to be able to afford to live in the city.
Thank you. You're at time.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, Jason, can you state your address again, please?
8 Wilson Street.
Thank you.
I'm Vicki Judd. I live at 203 River Street in Oneonta. And the 6th Ward has had at least a couple of meetings over the past few years. And so we thought it was delayed because they were going to put it downtown. And now it's back on River Street. And I have a real concern for the daycare, that the property aligns. I'm really concerned about the children there. That's my
Fran Cologne. I live at 4 Duane Street, and this project will be in my backyard. So you can call me a NIMBY, and I proudly wear that logo. And firstly, I want to say this chamber is an awful place for a meeting like this. I wear hearing aids, and I can hear about 20% of what's being said. You got to address this sound system. Anyway, my questions are mainly for RSS, but you tell me I can't ask them. So I'm going to say to you people, first of all, I don't understand the process. Can you please define that to me? No?
Wait, take your time, and then if the commission chooses to address your question, we will.
So at some point, we're going to find that out. I would like you to please consider when RSS initially came with their proposal several years ago, there were things that were required before that proposal was approved. I would like you to consider fencing, lighting, light leaking, on-site presence, I would assume 24/7, especially with 50% of the residents being, how did they put it, severely mental issues or serious mental issues. I don't understand the cost, the timing, and the funding. The seeker that was previously done needs to be redone. This is totally different than their first proposal. The seeker that they provided in their application to you should be null and void. That thing is no good anymore. Talk about long-eared bats. Taxes. Are you going to pay taxes? You're going to pay school taxes? In lieu of taxes?
No.
I'm very concerned about 60 plus or minus, 30 plus or minus. What does that mean? It could be 120 at some point, right? And I want to read to you from a sign that was recently put up by the Oneonta Historical Society at the 6th Ward. The 6th Ward, Oneonta's diverse ethnic community, settled on nearby streets in the early 1900s. They created thriving recreational spaces, clubs, and businesses. Businesses, folks, that's what brings people here.
That's your time,
These
sir.
were my grandparents.
That's your time, sir. Thank you.
My time is up.
Time
Yes.
is up.
I'll be back.
My name is Lorraine Gales. I live in 57 West Florida. My main concern is the people that are going to be living in these apartments. They said low income. What do they mean by that? I'm worried about people coming in, drugs coming in, and everything else coming in. We have a school down the street. We have a couple of daycare centers in the area. This is not a good spot for this at all. It's in a community that we all love and we all get along. We have a very nice community, and this project should be killed.
Sir?
Yeah, I'm Carl Miller. I live at 14 West Broadway. Lived here all my life. And when I married, lived here all her life. We were high school sweethearts. We've been married 57 years. And we're living in her grandparents' house, which I purchased. And I've done a lot of work on that house. If you'd like to go look at it, it's right across the street from Opportunities for Otsego. It's yellow with brown trim. And when I hear that they're gonna have 61 plus or minus units, what does that mean? How many people are gonna be in each unit? How big is the unit? Is there 1 bed, 2 beds, 5 beds? Is there a kitchen, a living room? This is all stuff that needs to be addressed before any movement is made on this project. Thank you.
My name is Dr. Marie Loper, PhD. I have 20 years of experience with facilities that deal with mental health and substance abuse treatment. My concern is not this is low income. My concern is that there is no information about the treatment or lack thereof that the residents of this facility will receive. If you think that this will be contained to the 6th ward
Excuse
and
me,
something goes wrong.
can you tell us where your
Sorry,
address?
142 River Street.
No, thank you.
My apologies. If you think that this will be contained to the 6th ward, you're wrong. I have seen the best and the worst of these types of facilities, and the best of these facilities work with the community, are extremely transparent, give us all of the information that we need, including, will there be doctors, will there be nurses on staff, will there be not just security 24/7, including cameras, which I heard RSS mention, but are there going to be therapists on staff? Will there be people there that are experiencing active psychosis? Will you have methadone treatment? This is not about, in my opinion, whether or not we should have affordable housing for all in this community. Like the person that spoke earlier, I also grew up in rough circumstances. I also grew up in low-income housing. And this is about whether or not the residents of this community will be safe, considering the types of mental illness and substance abuse issues that you are inviting into the community. And in order to proceed with this, there just needs to be more information. There needs to be more transparency. Again, I have 20 years of experience with this. I was forced into retirement by a near fatal auto accident. I chose Oneonta to call home and to literally come here to die. I am terminal. And so now I am faced with a project that is going to disrupt my ability to die in peace. It is important to not just me, but to every person in this room, that more information be provided before you go forward with this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, my name is Jim Brady. I live at 144 River Road, next to these, my new neighbors, so I love them. My concerns are, they already said taxes, but my concern is this going to turn into another 34th Street? We all know the issues that are there, right? That got pushed through, never should have. That's my concern. And everything else, the taxes and the, why do we keep taking things off the tax roll? Right, we're broke as a city as it is. They need to reconsider this.
Hi, I'm Dawn Harmer. I live at 13 Park Ave. In 2019, RSS came around and they were gung-ho, gonna have a project, this project. We got all these beautiful pictures, we had schematic drawings, we saw blueprints, all these, we had a couple informational meetings, we would meet at the 6th ward, we would talk with people from RSS, they would tell us this many beds were for substance abuse, this many beds were for regular people. Now it seems as if this project is a big secret. We didn't know about it, we had no idea. Even our alderman, Scott Harrington, he was left out of meetings, he wasn't invited. So if that's the case, why? So that makes me concerned. I work in mental health. I'm in support of housing. I know people are homeless, we need it. It's a large project. 61 units is big. It's really big. If half those people bring children, can our elementary school handle it? The parking, it didn't even sound like we were agreed on how many parking spots it was gonna be. Can the 6th ward handle that many cars? Riding bikes on River Street is dangerous. I know I do it. So they say traffic study, I don't really know what that means. I mean, I don't know what kind of traffic study could be done because, I don't know. So I just think the lack of information, I have to concur. I don't think things in secret is something, if it's gonna be such an amazing project, how come you can't get the information? Why isn't it everywhere? Why aren't there beautiful pictures? Why is it a flat picture on the computer? Why aren't there more, I don't know, why aren't the pictures better? You know, why can't we have more meetings? Why aren't we being invited? So, and I think half the amount of units would be better. And I know RSS is short-staffed right now, so I don't know what kind of support services they might do. You know, so I just think more information would be better. That's what I'm looking for. Thank you.
Sir?
I'm Edward Pixley, 184 River Street. Oneonta does need housing. It needs low-cost housing, and it needs it badly. This purports to address that. I will also like to point out that I was not born in the Sixth Ward. I was born in the upper Midwest, Minnesota. I moved to Oneonta and to the Sixth Ward in 55 years ago. So I've lived in my house for 55 years, and I love it. This neighborhood that I live in was the most welcoming I can imagine. It was wonderful. I never had to knock our doors. I knew that my neighbors on all sides were looking out for us. We were different from everybody else in the neighborhood, but they welcomed us. So I feel the Sixth Ward is not a closed community, though it's full of people who have lived there for multiple generations, but it's not a closed community. And I don't want it to ever be. My hearing is not all that good, so I'm not quite sure that I understood the young man who spoke earlier, but I thought I understood that he was expressing his need for this kind of housing. And I appreciate that. I think it's important. But what I think really follows is the transparency. There are too many unanswered questions about this, what this will constitute, how it's going to be secure, how the people of this group can integrate into the community comfortably, and the community can be welcoming to them as it was to me and my family. And unless we know those things and feel comfortable with them, I don't think it's going to work. So I do hope that this organization that is opposing it can come up with the kinds of solutions that can make us all comfortable with what they are trying to do. And maybe they're going to have to modify what they're proposing in order to make that happen. But I've said enough, okay?
Anyone else? Sir?
Charles Spencer, 52 West Broadway. I'd say the theme of tonight does seem to be on transparency, and that's why we signed a petition to say, hey, can you hold some hearings in the neighborhood? Let us talk to you, you talk to us. It is those big question marks that make people concerned, maybe scared. So those are things that could just easily be addressed in some dialogue. And I know even just hearing about this event tonight, it was only because my new friend Howard came and knocked on our door, you know, and his wife. And so we're here tonight, just to kind of address that. And I did think, you know, the splitting the zoning plot, the answer given tonight was vague. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I was very confused by that. And as Bill Shue said, maybe the zoning board should be involved. I know my biggest concern is we do need affordable housing in Oneonta and Otsego County, and that's clear to everybody here. And I do want to, what I wonder is, are they going to just be bringing in people who need housing from outside the county? Are there any ties to friends, family, work in the county? Oneonta has its share of problems. We don't need other people's problems, but it would be great. And if RSS is dedicated to helping Otsego County,
helping our friends, family, and neighbors first, I think that would go a long way. So again, that could be something addressed at one of the 4 hearings that I'm sure RSS will agree to have. Thank you.
May I make one more comment?
I'm feeling kind today, so yes, Ed, you can.
Thank you. Some of you who know me know that my wife was a quadriplegic for the last several years of her life. And we had to bring in home health aides. They were wonderful. I mean, they were remarkable people who helped us. But they could not afford to live in Oneonta. They had to commute from outside of town, from Bainbridge, from Sydney, from Franklin, and because they couldn't afford to live here. And so I am very aware of that need for affordable housing in this city. Because I think there are a lot of people who work at low-income jobs and part-time jobs who need housing, but they can't afford to live.
Thank you, Ed. Anyone else? Yep.
My name's Michelle Payton. I live at 484 Gifford Hill Road. I just had some understanding about the subdivision. So if it's subdivided, how many acres are left within the acres that RSS owns? And is it a possibility for more houses in the future on those parcels that aren't in this development? And it's, I believe my understanding that Ithaca property that they did with RSS is closer to 60 to 70% of the average income earned, not 30 to 70 that they're proposing here. So it's more of a market rate, because I believe that market rate housing is needed in this area. And my last one is that if it's that large of a facility, having only one entrance on West Broadway, I just wonder if that would be an issue with the fire department, if they would have to get there, if there should be another entrance. Thank you.
Anyone else? Sir?
Eric Hendrickson, 48 West Front. Been down there since '88. Enjoyed my neighborhood, love my neighborhood, even though we sit between 2 bars, and it's part of the entertainment walk. And there's been an addition of a lot of other people walking up and down. Concerned about the traffic. I know of 3 daycares in the area. Not a good place for this kind of facility. Also, at the cover letter here, described it as half and half units, severe mental illness. I have my concerns about, of course, the services that are rendered to them. The other part, in the cover letter, it says individuals, not families. It says 2 bedrooms. It doesn't say how many people are going to be housed in there, how many people can be put in those rooms. What are we facing here? I too share the concern about the time. The dust hasn't settled on this last fiasco downtown, and now they're already back down in our neighborhood. Now, I know they own the land. Maybe they should have looked into the character of the neighborhood before they came in. Also, pretty much that's it. I had one more point, I can't think of it right now. But thank you anyway. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else? No?
Can I say something again, please?
Quickly.
Not too long ago, we had this guy walking down River Street, where I live, 203 River Street. And I went across the street to my neighbor's to give her something. and this guy comes by me, and it was very obvious that he was, mentally challenged. And, I didn't turn around. My husband was watching from our house across the street. And he said, I was really concerned about you because that guy turned around and was making all kinds of gestures to you and saying stuff. So, I mean, I do have a concern for safety as well.
Anyone else? Last call. Anyone else? Okay.
Can I just say something? A few years ago, I lived on 57 West Broadway. Right down the street is the daycare center. We had the sixth floor, we had the beer barrel on the corner. I petitioned the town for a stop sign on West Broadway, and I was turned down. I got petitions from all my neighbors, they were for it and everything else. I said, either put it on Fonda or Parish, where the daycare center is. Well, one day, nobody said a word. I see some workers on the corner, and they put the stop sign up. And it has made a big difference. Because from where the OFO is, you had a straight line all the way down. And the cars, the trucks, everything were racing down West Broadway. And I was tired of it.
They still go pretty fast.
Yeah.
They still go pretty fast.
They still go pretty fast, but the stop sign has slowed down.
All right, thank you for your comment. Anyone else? Yep.
My name is Liz Fink, and I live at 73 Gilbert Street, Oneonta. And I would just like to say that there has been no transparency as far as I'm concerned with this project. I did get, I get the paper, and in the paper I saw that there was a public meeting. I'm sure that's how it was listed. I also received a postcard that said there was gonna be a public meeting, and that only if I lived within 200 feet of the project could I speak. And I don't know what's going on with this city and who's running the departments or lack of running, but I am not happy with the way this has all gone down. There is no transparency. There are more questions than answers even after tonight. Thank you.
Anyone else?
If nobody else is going to comment, can I get 30 more seconds? Just 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Thank you. I
Can you
just
state
wanted
your
to
name
say
again,
that-
please?
Oh, Howard Lippman, 152 River Street. I just wanted to say again, and I hope that it's very clear to all of the planning commission members, none of the people here that are speaking out against this project are against low-income housing. None of us. If everybody that I knocked on their door and got their signature, everybody realizes the need for low-income housing. The part that disturbs people, scares people, and makes people step back is the severely mentally ill part and the drug rehabilitation. Those are the people that we're concerned about. Those are the units that we want to know specifically how this is all going to be handled, and we're not getting those answers. We don't have, we haven't been given any resources by the city. In those signatures, it's less than 1 week to get those signatures because we didn't know about this meeting. We didn't know this was coming forward so quickly.
And it's only a third of the 6th ward.
Yeah, I haven't heard about this RSS project until a week ago, when this should have been months in advance that every member of the 6th ward should have known this was coming back to life. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I live at 140 River Street. My name is Lynn Shumway.
What's your name?
Lynn Shumway, 140 River Street. The 6th Ward community is a very tight-knit community, which has a lot of children and a lot of people that traditionally have lived in this area for a long time. children, because they ride their bikes, they walk to school, and you're gonna put another 100 or so, or we don't even know how many people into this area. And that's the main concern, because people are just not well informed about what is actually going on. And like everybody stated, we know we need low-income housing, but why is it put into this area where it's been traditionally a family-oriented community that's lived there for generations?
Anyone else? Okay, we are going to close public comment. Thank you, everyone. I also, Bonnie, realized that I did not have you read the public correspondence before we started public comment, so maybe we can retroactively go back and read that when you get a chance.
So this is, it says to Zoning and Housing Board of Appeals, September 24, 2025 meeting, RSS project. It's not us, but he has to come to this meeting. Dear council members, I, Kathleen Jalowick Stanton, a 42-year resident with the 6th Ward Oneonta, own multiple properties in the area, and I'm opposed to the RSS development on West Broadway. The 6th Ward residents are proud of what we have. We have the Boys and Girls Club, the 6th Ward Booster Club fields, Swart Wilcox House,